Welcome to another episode of Fraud Tracks. I'm your host, Kirk Barry. Today, I'm taking you to the state of North Carolina, and I found a hemp retailer. They do online and they have their own retail. I think there's two retail stores, and they're called the Hemp Company. And what I found interesting is that they're owned by Dr. John Bellachella and his wife, Carol. And Dr. Bellachella is a licensed chiropractor in the state of North Carolina. And when I looked at their website and reviewed their material, here's what I saw. They say, the Hemp Company's mission is to educate our customers and to bring the highest quality hemp-derived products to our community. And they go on to say that based on Dr. Bellachella's excellent reputation, we are trusted by local physicians and earn their referrals. So I went to their website and I downloaded almost 100 different COAs, and I took a look at those COAs. And listen, this hemp company has the usual SKUs. They sell flour and they sell other concentrated products. And so I focused on the flour products for just a moment. And when I reviewed those COAs, here's what I found. 61%, over half of the COAs have redacted customer information, and 18% of the COAs have no customer information at all. Now, this is a fraudulent activity in and of itself. What happens is a laboratory issues a COA, and they're required under ISO 17025 to list customer name and identifying information on the COA. And one of the first things that I see happen in the world of fraud is that information is erased, so that perhaps somebody doesn't know or somebody can't find out who the actual customer is for the laboratory itself. Now, the lab involved, I want to talk about one product in particular, and it's Cantaloupe Haze. And this is a flour product. And it was really hard for me to pick out just one overt example of fraud, but here we go. The laboratory involved in this is Cannabis Chem Lab. And Cannabis Chem Lab is out of South Dakota. And let me say right up front that when I looked at the authentic certificate of analysis, I don't see anything that Cannabis Chem Lab does that's fraudulent or lab fraud in any way, shape, or form. Looks like they did a good job. So here's what I found. When I downloaded the COA from Dr. Bellachella's website, the Hemp Company, and I took a look at it, the first thing I recognized is there's almost no information here at all. This is obviously a cut and paste document fraud. And it does say Cantaloupe Haze on it, and it does show a picture of flour. And this particular COA has a QR code on it, and I've talked about those before. And so I went ahead and scanned the QR code, and that took me over to Cannabis Chem Lab's website where they house their documents, and they're part of Confident Limbs system. And by the way, I like everything that Confident Limbs is about. They work with laboratories for their laboratory information management system, and that's what LIMS stands for. So I look at these COAs, and not only do I see that there's no customer information and somebody's erased or deleted terpene information on here, it does have cannabinoid information listed. It shows the THCA at 32% and the Delta 9 at 0.195. Wow, what do you know? Just under the Farm Bill compliance standards or requirements. But on Dr. Bellachella's website, his COA, they misspelled the word certificate. Dr. Bellachella, you spell certificate with an F. So it looks to me like what somebody's done is they've taken this document and they've split it right down the middle, and they've middle lengthwise, and they've created two documents out of it. Because when you look at the document that's actually stored on Cannabis Chem Lab's website, it wasn't tested for potency at all. It was only tested for terpenes. And you can see the customer name on there. It's WNC, and they're out of Asheville, North Carolina. So the document fraud person has taken the original certificate of analysis, removed the terpene information, and created a fraudulent document that intends to show that the product was actually tested for cannabinoids. Now, when you look at some of the information on here, uh, you, you find that it says total THC is NT, which means not tested at all. This is a really bad fraud on somebody's part. You think you could have a forger with a little more I don't know, panache do this. Anyway, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fraudulent COA is the currency of the criminal enterprise. So people in the supply chain are sending in product to be tested for terpenes only because they don't want to test it for potency, not flower. And somebody takes that COA and doctors it and alters it so that now it shows it's tested for potency and not terpenes. And then a retailer gets a hold of that information and they can't even be bothered to follow a reasonable standard of care to ensure that the certificates, the official documents they're using to sell their product are authentic in the first place. Listen, it doesn't take a genius to see that certificate is spelled wrong on this form. It's on the header, it's on the top of the form. Or that you would bother to take the time to look to scan the QR code and find that, what do you know, this isn't an authentic document at all issued by the lab. So listen, Dr. Bellachella is a licensed professional, and I think that he should look at documents. I think that everybody needs to apply a reasonableness standard, and at least look and see that things are spelled right. And look at some basic information and make sure that certificates of analysis that you have are authentic. Common fraud I see in the hemp sector. Again, sending in a sample to be tested for terpenes only, and then taking that sample and altering it, taking the COA and altering it so that it shows that you tested for potency, so that hopefully you can get by the regulatory scheme and sell your product to an unsuspecting customer. I have a program called Clarion Certified. And for those in the hemp industry, especially the retailers, manufacturers, everybody in the supply chain that want to make sure that you're dealing with compliant product, Clarion will come in, work with the business, make sure that the COAs are authentic, and that you've got product on the shelf to sell to consumers that is compliant. Because look, I don't know how much of the news you read, but the retail operations, the brick and mortar stores, you guys are easy targets for law enforcement that's looking to address this problem. I mean, you can't go anywhere. You open up the store every day. Somebody comes in and does a controlled buy, and has product tested and finds out it's cannabis and not hemp. And then you find your store's raided and your cash is taken and whatever have you. Well, listen, if you're going to operate like this, I don't know what to do with you. You know, you can't even check to see if big words are spelled correctly on your form, and you can't be bothered to scan QR codes. But if you really do care about selling compliant products, reach out, let's talk. Hey, if you like what's on the channel, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the like button, throw some comments down in the section below if you found this to be helpful. If you have any businesses that you want investigated, let me know. Until next time.